We've been taught that success means sacrificing everything else. But what if I told you that prioritizing yourself is the most strategic decision you can make for your business and for your life? In fact, success and wellness are not opposites, nor should they be treated as such. They're actually partners. When you prioritize both, you're not just taking care of your well-being, you're actually setting yourself up for sustainable growth and fulfillment. Think about it this way. How often do we push ourselves to the brink, right? We push ourselves to the brink believing that exhaustion is a badge of honor because we pushed through, we made that deadline. But here's the truth behind that. Burnout isn't the price of success. Yes, burnout. And something's probably not on your radar, but it's there, it's lurking. But it's the cost of neglecting ourselves, right? That's what happens when we don't align ourselves with taking care of ourselves while also being successful in our businesses. And true success doesn't require sacrificing your health or your happiness. Instead, it really thrives when you show up as your best, most aligned self. Hello, I'm 𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗿, self-care strategist for women like you who are high-achieving, purpose-driven, and you're focused on creating a life that feels both successful and deeply fulfilling without feeling like you're being pulled in a million directions. Today, we're going to explore how integrating wellness into your life and your business isn't just a nice to have, it's a game changer. I'll share my take on the myths about hustle culture. We'll discuss small yet powerful self-care practices and talk about how to reframe self-care as an essential part of your success strategy. We've all heard the phrase hustle harder, haven't we, right? Like hustle hard, or the belief that if you work hard, the harder you work, then you'll always be rewarded. In my opinion, working hard is being seen as a badge of honor. I feel is that we're glorifying the idea that success requires relentless work, constant sacrifice, and pushing ourselves through exhaustion. But let's take a step back and really look at what this mindset costs us. Now, I don't believe that hustle culture is sustainable, and here's why. The belief that success only comes through hard work, or what most people I've talked to as pushing through exhaustion to meet those deadlines, being overworked, overwhelmed, to me, that really is just a recipe that leads to burnout. And unfortunately, most people don't even know they're headed for burnout because they look at it as, oh, I'm just having an off day, or I didn't sleep very well last night, so that's why I don't have that much energy today. And they're not even really looking at the underlying causes of their off days or their sleepless nights, because most likely it's their habits that have caused this for them. Meaning having an off day where you're feeling tired, maybe you're feeling less motivated, not as productive as usual. That could be symptoms of overwhelming your calendar, burning the candle at both ends, working into the wee hours of the morning, or too much screen time before bed. And that blue light, actually, there is apparently scientific evidence behind this that's proving that the blue light is an actual signal to our brain that it's time to be awake, to be alert. So if you're looking at your screen before you go to bed, and even on your phone, and you have that blue light shining into your eyes, what's happening is your brain is saying, oh, it's time to be awake. And so when you try to fall asleep, you kind of think you can get where I'm going with this. So while it also may feel like you're gaining ground by working nonstop, especially if you do find yourself working into the wee hours of the next day, pushing through so that you meet those deadlines, what you're doing is you're actually eroding your ability to perform at your best. So let's get personal here. Think about a time when you pushed yourself to the limit. You ignored your sleep, you skipped meals, you sidelined things that really bring you joy, you broke promises to spend time with your friends or your family, all in the name of achieving a goal. So how did you feel? Did you feel more accomplished? Did it leave you feeling drained, unmotivated, unhappy, unfulfilled, and questioning why it felt so hard? Or how about this? Did you get burnt out? I know that when I did this many times, I stared burnout straight in the face many times with my most recent burnout experience this past May. And that one was particularly hard for me because it was emotional burnout, and it took several weeks for me to recover from it. And I've talked about that here on the channel before, or on my lives before. But yeah, burnout's not fun. And if you're not recognizing, not paying attention to the signs that are staring you right in the face, like having the off day, feeling exhausted, not motivated or focused, not having the energy or even the desire to do things, those could be signs of burnout. And it's really important for you to take a look then so that you don't actually head straight into burnout, or that you can course correct. The truth is, constant sacrifice isn't a prerequisite for success. It's actually a roadblock. What's often overlooked in hustle culture is the role that self-care plays in achieving sustainable success. As I said in the beginning, I believe success and self-care are partners. When you neglect your well-being, you're not just shortchanging you, you're shortchanging the impact you could have on your business, you're shortchanging your relationships, and you're shortchanging the people who depend on you. And also you're shortchanging yourself because you're not taking care of you. Now, success isn't about pushing harder. It's really about showing up as your best, your most aligned self. And that only happens when you prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health. Now, high-achieving women especially are often caught in this trap because while we've been conditioned to believe that productivity equals worthiness, but let me tell you this, your worth isn't defined by how busy you are. True success comes when you create space for rest, reflection, and renewal. These are the ingredients that fuel clarity, creativity, and resilience, all of which are essential for thriving in both your business and your life. I believe that it's time and in our best interests for us to really challenge that myth that hustle equals success. I don't believe that success has to come at the expense of our well-being. In fact, I believe that success thrives when you prioritize self-care. Small, intentional acts of self-care aren't indulgences, they're actually strategies. They're your tools that allow you to show up fully and achieve more with less stress. And stress, right? We don't want to have that chronic stress. Yes, some stresses are good, but chronic stress is not. So here's the question. If you've been wearing hustle as a badge of honor, work, the harder you work, the more successful you're going to be. Is it really serving you? Or is it really time for you to rewrite the narrative and embrace a more balanced approach to achieving your goals? Which leads me to my next point, which is using self-care as a strategic advantage. Too often, self-care is dismissed as a luxury, something we'll get to if there's time, or it's often thought of as mani-pedis, massages, nice lunches, buying yourself something special, or taking that amazing trip you've always wanted to go on. Those are all nice and are self-care related as they're honoring you and celebrating you, but that's not all that self-care is. For high-achieving women, self-care isn't a luxury. It's a strategic advantage. It's the foundation that allows you to sustain your drive, maintain your energy, and consistently operate at your highest level. Things like learning to say yes, as an example, to the right things at the right time so that you utilize your time and energy well. Or asking for help when you're stretched thin. Or truth be told, you can do something yourself, but you'd rather give it to someone else to do so that it frees up your valuable time for other things that you want to do. Or let me even rephrase that. Something that you can give to someone else to do so that it frees up your time. I know sometimes we try to control everything, and that just has us trapped in this time cycle because we're doing so much that we feel like we have so little time to get things done. Whereas when you actually allow yourself to pass something off, asking for help and passing it off to someone else to do, they might do it better than you ever expected, or even better than what you could have done. But unless you give someone a chance to help you do that, you're never going to know, right? So think about what defines a high-achieving woman. She's ambitious, she's goal-oriented, and she's often balancing multiple roles in life, whether that's as business owner, a leader, partner, mentor even, and mom. She's the woman who's constantly striving for excellence, setting those big goals and finding ways to make an impact. But with that drive comes immense pressure, and without intentional self-care, the demands can take a toll. And here's the thing. Success isn't about pushing harder or squeezing more into your day. It's about showing up as your best self And that starts with making your wellness a priority. In fact, knowing how to structure your day in a way that supports you professionally and supports you personally, and allows for you to actually have quality of life. So imagine you're a high achieving woman who takes mindful breaks to recharge your focus. You engage in your regular movement like stretching or walking to clear your mind, and you intentionally dedicate time to reflect and recalibrate your goals. These small acts of self-care aren't taking you away from your success at all. No, they're actually propelling you towards it. When you prioritize self-care in your day to day, you're not just taking care of your body and your mind, you're actually sharpening your most valuable tools, like your clarity, your creativity, your emotional resilience, and you're also protecting your time and your energy. And I want to remind you of this. If we don't pause to care for ourselves, what does that say about the value that we place on our well-being? Right? And what is that even saying to our families, if we have kids, like if you have children and they're watching you, what is that saying to them? Is it saying that, no, we're not important? And how long really can we truly sustain success without that foundation of taking care of ourselves? Because again, even though burnout might not be a topic that you think about, or you've heard it and you think it's another buzzword, or maybe you've heard of someone going through it, but you're not exactly sure what that looks like, and not even recognizing that perhaps you've actually been in a burnout season, or you've actually had symptoms because you're only focusing on the symptoms and not realizing that those are actually leading you to burnout. Again, if you're not taking care of yourself, that is exactly where you're headed. And I can say that with confidence because I've talked to several women over the past year, including myself. I've actually gone back and looked at my past and seen how many different burnout phases that I've gone through. And I've even talked to, as I said, many women who've gone through multiple phases of burnout. So embracing that self-care as a way of life should be a non-negotiable. I say should, not that it could be or it might be a nice to have. It really should be a non-negotiable foundation to your well-being so that it allows you to approach your challenges with fresh eyes, to communicate more effectively, to make decisions with confidence without that second guessing. And, just really feeling really good about yourself daily. These are traits that really set successful women apart. And let's get practical. High achieving women often think they don't have time for self-care. And here's the thing, self-care doesn't require hours of your day. I know a lot of people think that it's selfish, but it's not. If you can look at self-care as even just pausing for 5 minutes for deep breathing during a stressful meeting, right? Even in the middle of a meeting, you can actually relax and take some deep breaths in and out. And that can bring down your stress levels. Or you can prioritize movement with a quick walk around the block if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate going for a longer walk. Even just getting outside for 5-10 minutes is going to make a difference. Or taking 10 minutes to journal at the end of your day to reflect on your wins and any lessons learned. These micro decisions create a ripple effect, which can enhance your focus, your energy, and your ability to tackle the next challenge. The reality is, when self-care becomes a non-negotiable part of your routine, it transforms how you show up in your life and your work. So instead of running on empty, you're operating from a place of alignment, purpose, and strength. And that's when you truly become unstoppable. So let me ask you, what's one way you can prioritize yourself today to ensure that you're showing up as your best self tomorrow? Because it's not just about what you achieve, it's about how you feel while you're achieving it. And that starts with you making your well-being part of your success strategy, which leads me to my next point. There really is tremendous power in our micro decisions. These are seemingly small, intentional choices that we make throughout our day that when compounded, they can lead to transformative shifts in how we feel and how we perform and how we show up in our lives. For women who are high achieving, ambitious, motivated, purpose-driven, they can often find themselves focusing on the big moves, right? The major goals, the significant milestones, the high impact decisions. But what often gets overlooked is how the small everyday choices create the foundation for those big wins. And on top of that, when they're so productivity focused, what slips through the cracks? Their well-being. because it's not looked at as something that supports the big moves. It's not looked at as something that supports the big goals, milestones, or the high impact decisions. And truth be told, the trajectory of your success isn't determined by one monumental decision. It's really shaped by the consistent micro decisions you make. I'm sure that you can agree with me on that, correct? And that includes how you prioritize your well-being, so that you set yourself up for success, to live a life more in alignment with your purpose, with your goals, and the vision you have for yourself. So imagine for a second that you're in the middle of a packed workday, and instead of pushing through your fatigue, you actually take a pause for a 5-minute stretch break. That small pause allows your body to reset, your mind to refocus, and your energy to recharge. You're giving yourself, your body and your mind a break for just, even if it's only, again, 5 minutes. It's a simple choice, but it has those ripple effects, because then what happens is you'll notice that your productivity improves. When you do more of these little micro decisions, micro self-care into your day, you're going to find that your productivity starts to improve. Your creativity becomes sharper. You feel better equipped to handle the next task. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen like right out of the gate. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this now one time and everything's just going to shift. No, it takes constant practice. So it's not like just a one and done. Self-care is not a one and done. It's an actual lifestyle choice. And it's about taking care of yourself all the time and putting in these types of micro breaks all the time throughout your day to support you all the time, so that you can start seeing those things, so you can start seeing results. The thing about self-care, or things that are like personal development, self-development, a lot of people don't realize is that it starts from the inside out, right? You start to work at the inner work, where you start to like make changes in how you think and you feel, and the things, how you respond to things. That's where it starts. It begins within, and you start to feel differently. And that's when you start to see the differences. That's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to self-development. It's not like you buy a course and you go through it and you start, and then that's it. Like, there's results. It's you go through the process, you do the work, you start to feel a certain way, you start to feel different about your life, you start to feel better. And that's when you start to see things shifting in your life, the way you approach things, and you start to see things reflected back to you in a way. So that's where the physical evidence comes in. So I just wanted to really point that out, because I think a lot of people get this misconception that you buy a course and immediately you do something once and it automatically shifts. It's doing these things over and over again, because again, it becomes a lifestyle choice. Think about also setting a boundary. And I want to just transition to the next thing, because I'm really trying to keep these short, but I know I'm not always able to, because I really have a lot I want to talk to you about and really be able to pour into you to help you, especially at this time of year. And tomorrow being Thanksgiving for those of us in the United States, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and then the big Black Friday shopping day on Friday. And so I know people are starting to feel pressures, especially for this time of year. And so it's really important that you take care of yourself. So that's getting back to boundaries. Boundaries are really important. For example, I like to say to have a hard stop. So that's choosing to end your workday at a specific time so you can spend uninterrupted time with your family. That should be a non-negotiable, because you want to be able to strengthen those bonds. I believe family is really important. Family is part of community. You have community within your own family. That's a community. So nurture that community, nurture those bonds, and set non-negotiable times for those bonding moments, so you can look back over life and say, yeah, I grew up in a great home. We had such a great family dynamic. We really supported each other. We showed up for each other. We spent time together. And really, that's important, because then you can look back on that with so much grace. And moving forward, your children especially will go out into the world creating their own families and taking those traditions into their family. And that is a ripple effect, so I just want you to look at that way. One decision that you make that you make communicating to yourself and others that your well-being and your relationships matter is really important. So again, having that boundary, if a client wants to have a call with you, but that's your 1 hour time that you go to the park with your daughter or your son, and that's non-negotiable, then they don't get that time, do they? They don't get that time because your children should be more important. And let's face it, time is, let's talk about time. It's our most valuable commodity. I know a lot of people think that money is our most valuable commodity, but I believe time is our most valuable commodity. And it's important that we prioritize time to spend with those who matter most to us, again, so that we can strengthen those bonds. Over time, our boundaries protect the boundaries that protect our time and our energy can enhance our relationships and allow us to engage in work feeling more refreshed and focused, because our personal lives are really thriving, and that allows us to show up in our professional lives as well in that same mindset. In essence, micro decisions around your well-being are about intentionality, right? It's recognizing that every small act of self-care adds up to bigger benefits over time. Now, these aren't just moments of pause or indulgence, right? They're strategic actions that protect your ability to perform at your best. So for the high-achieving woman, a micro decision might look like starting your day with a moment of gratitude to set the tone for the day, right? Being able to say, hey, like, I want to think about something I'm really grateful for today. For example, I can say I'm really grateful that I woke up today in this beautiful place that I'm living in currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And I can look out my window and see gorgeous palm trees and gorgeous, I'm not quite sure of the flower on the tree, but it's absolutely beautiful, pinky purple color. And then seeing all the birds and the life, I can say that I can be grateful for that. So it sets the tone for the day. It could also be you saying no to one more commitment that doesn't align with your priorities, or actually, let's flip the script. And instead of focusing on what you're saying no to, you become more intentional around the things that you say yes to, so that you're not only filling your calendar with things that move the needle in your business, but you're also making sure that your life isn't only about work. So again, I've said this many times on my live videos. I say this to people when I talk to them, that self-care should be on your calendar first. That means if you have a 2 p.m. play date with your son or daughter at the park, that should be on your calendar. If you have you have yoga on Wednesdays at 11, that should be on your calendar. If you have date night with your significant other on Friday nights from 7 to 9, because maybe you have kids and they're young and you have to get a babysitter, then that should be on your calendar as a non-negotiable. It really is important that you prioritize having a life outside of business. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, another micro decision could be when you wake up, that before you reach for that morning cup of joe, that you drink a glass of water to hydrate your body. Or maybe you set timers throughout your day to remind yourself to take a movement break during long work sessions, so that you not only get the body moving, but you give your brain a break as well, and you're not always sitting in front of your computer. You know, each of these choices might seem insignificant on their own, but if you do this collectively, if you start creating these types of micro decisions, they create that lifestyle that supports your energy, focus, and resilience. And they're not just about making your day feel a little easier. They're actually about creating a sustainable foundation for your success. Like I said, success and self-care go hand in hand. They're partners. When you prioritize small acts of self-care, you're sending a message to yourself that your well-being matters. And when your well-being thrives, every area of your life benefits too. Remember, success and self-care are partners. They work together so that you thrive personally and professionally. So here's a thought. What micro decision can you make today that would set you up for success tomorrow? Remember, these small choices, they're not just moments in your day, they're investments in your future self. And we can even go a step further and start seeing them for what they truly are. They're building blocks of a life where success and wellness coexist beautifully, which leads me to my final point. Integrating self-care into your life through practical strategies and shifting your mindset. Let's start with a common objection many of us have faced when it comes to anything really pretty much in life, you know, when it comes to inserting something else into our calendar, or especially self-care, because again, I've heard women say, oh, it's selfish of me to do that, or I don't have time, right? It is that old saying, I don't have time objection. It's the belief that feels valid when your schedule is packed, your to-do list is endless, and every moment seems like it's taken. But here's something I'd like you to consider. Self-care isn't about finding extra time. It's about rethinking how you use the time you already have. So let me repeat that because I really want you to take that in. Self-care isn't about finding extra time. It's about rethinking how you use the time you already have. When you view self-care as an investment in yourself, in your well-being, one that directly impacts your energy, productivity, and your quality of life, it shifts from being just another thing to do to becoming the foundation for how you do everything. And if you think of self-care as time away from your work or your responsibilities, it's going to be really easy for you to feel guilty about prioritizing, or if you think it's selfish, you're going to find it hard to say yes to adding in time that honors you, because you will be of the mindset that it's selfish for you to take time for yourself when you have so many other responsibilities, and maybe even feel like people will judge you for it. But consider this. Every act of self-care you incorporate into your day enhances your ability to show up fully for your commitments, for your relationships, and for your goals, right? Self-care doesn't have to mean hours at a spa. It can be as simple as I said, like a 5-minute pause to breathe deeply. You could be in a meeting, like I said, you could be in a meeting and you need to just breathe in and out deeply, in through your nose and out through your nose. Nobody has to know that you're doing this. And even if they do, who cares? You're trying to take the stress level down. It could even be after that meeting, you have to go into something else really quickly, but you step outside for some fresh air for 10, 15 minutes. Or it could be simply sipping your coffee without scrolling through emails or social media or text messages, actually savoring the coffee, the smell, the taste, the warmth of the coffee, and just allowing yourself to just relax and to be. I think we're so in the doing in our lives, we forget to actually be. Take moments to just be. These micro moments of self-care aren't indulgences. Again, they're essential resets to keep you grounded and focused. And when you consistently prioritize self-care, you're not just managing stress. What you're doing is you're setting yourself up for sustained productivity and a better quality of life. Now, something else I want to say as well. Self-care is not a one-size-fits-all model, because I think a lot of people get scared when they hear about self-care. They think, oh, it's one-size-fits-all, and that they have to worry about, oh, I have to do this, like what other people do. Like, for example, the miracle morning, where there's like 6 different things that you do. What works for one person may not work for another, because you might have kids that are young. You have to get off to school in the morning, or you have to drop them off at school, and maybe you only have 15 minutes to yourself first thing in the morning. And then if you try to add in those 6 self-care things from the miracle morning routine, that's most likely not going to work out for you, and you're going to become frustrated. And it's okay if that's not your self-care routine. If it's just 15 minutes where you just do other things like meditating and then journaling, that's okay. Whatever that looks like, your self-care has to fit your lifestyle, and you should feel good about it, whatever routine that you incorporate into your day, as long as it supports your well-being. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a complete overhaul of your schedule either. It's really about you weaving small intentional practices into your routine that support your lifestyle. Simple as that. So I'll give you some suggestions as a starting point. So like, for example, a morning ritual. You can start the day, as I was saying, with a few minutes. Maybe you have a meditation I like to do guided meditations. I have themes, like I might want to have a meditation for clarity and focus, or gratitude. Or, maybe I have a little bit of stress, so I'll have a 5-minute guided meditation to bring the stress down. And whatever that looks like for you, you can find them online. It's really super easy. Just Google what you're looking for. And then maybe you like to journal afterwards. Journal about what came across for you after doing the meditation. Maybe you open your day with prayer, or you set an intention for the day. A calm, focused morning can really set the tone for your entire day. Again, it can be as simple as 5 minutes of your time, whatever that looks like. If you only have a short period of time that you can set something to start your day, as long as you do this for yourself. And again, doesn't have to look like everybody else's. Not everybody's life is the same. So be open and curious about what works for you, and just try different things out. And then the second one is movement breaks. Take short movement breaks throughout your day. So even standing and stretching for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes can re-energize your body and mind. Going for that walk around the block, if you only have 15, 20 minutes, going for a walk around the block is great. I saw a video recently, and I didn't save the link, but there was a video on Facebook. I guess it was like a reel, and someone was talking about how actually going for a 10-minute walk, or I think a 10-minute walk after you eat is really beneficial for your body, for digestion purposes. So maybe that's what you do. You eat your lunch and then you go for a 10-minute walk. Another thing is having a hard stop to your day. I really think this is important. So establishing a clear start to your day and a clear end for your work day, and protecting your time and your energy, because that's important, because it'll help you to create space for rest, connection, and reflection. And you don't want to be, the reason why I also want you to have a hard stop to your day is so that you're not working until right up to the moment where, okay, I'm done for the day, and then you fall into bed and you can't turn your brain off because you've been working nonstop and your brain hasn't had a chance to like wind down to, get things out, like to really just calm itself, for you to calm yourself, to be able to wind down and go to sleep. So it's really important, that I believe, to have a hard stop to your day, because then you can set yourself up for a successful night's rest. And then the fourth one is gratitude. Spend a few minutes each evening reflecting on something you're grateful for. Again, you start the day with gratitude. I like to start the day with gratitude and end the day with gratitude. I just think that when you can do that, it can shift your mindset, can foster positivity, and helps to reduce stress. Plus, there's scientific studies that have proven that people who practice gratitude sleep better. And finally, ask yourself this: if you don't have time for self-care, what will the cost be later? If you don't take time now for self-care, what will the cost be later? Without investing time into your well-being, the long-term costs can be exhaustion, strained relationships, that elusive foe of burnout, which most people, again, don't recognize they're heading for until it's too late. They're in it, and that's when it becomes imperative. They're starting to panic, trying to find ways to get out of it. Reframing self-care as a strategy to maximize your time and your energy, your productivity, and your overall well-being and fulfillment isn't really just about you surviving another busy day, right? It's not about surviving every day. It's about you thriving and enjoying quality of life every day. And when you prioritize yourself, you're not taking time away from your life. You're actually enriching it. You're saying to you that you matter. So I'm going to leave you with a question, and I truly hope that you take some time today to really sit with it and answer it, and be honest with yourself about where you're at in your self-care journey. And I apologize, I have gone over a little bit, but I really just feel so passionate about this. I know this is a really stressful time of year, and I wanted to be able to pour into you today. So my question for you today is, what is one small act of self-care that you can prioritize today that would help you feel more aligned and energized? Again, I encourage you to take time today and reflect on this question. I'll make sure that I put it in the comments so that you can reflect on it and really take time, because it's important that you take care of yourself. And I'm sure you've noticed that when you have those, as we like to call them, off days, where we think it's just an off day, or we're tired because we're not getting enough sleep and we're not really connecting the dots back to the reasons, our habits that are making these things happen, show up in our lives. It's really important that we look at what are our habits. What are we doing that might be the catalyst behind, that might be the issue behind all of these symptoms that we're experiencing, that are keeping us from having that quality of life. So again, I encourage you to take time, answer the question, reflect on it, and answer this question. I'm not asking you for you to publicly post about it. If you feel like you want to be able to publicly post about it, maybe that could help someone else, I encourage you also to do that. Go ahead, do that. You might actually share something that could change a person's life. So I hope what I've shared with you today has resonated and has opened you up to become more curious about how you prioritize you. It's really incredible how even the smallest act of self-care can create a ripple effect in your day. When you take a moment to focus on what truly supports your well-being, you're not just reclaiming your time and your energy, you're realigning with what matters most. So if today's conversation has sparked something within you and you're ready to explore how intentional self-care can bring more balance and fulfillment into your life, I'd love to support you in that. Send me a private message letting me know that you're open to exploring how small shifts can create those meaningful changes in your life, and I'll send you my booking link to schedule your complimentary wellness strategy session, and we'll explore personalized strategies, approaches to helping you discover more alignment, energy, and focus without sacrificing what's most important to you. Remember, investing in your well-being isn't just about thriving today. It's about creating a foundation for the future you truly want, which means you don't have to wait until everything falls apart to prioritize you. Small steps today can prevent bigger struggles tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.